Hey guys, so I've been having a couple of thoughts about some things lately, and I just wanted to go ahead and make a video and sort of talk about it, and talk about, why I'm going to start playing RuneScape 3 next week, and the reasons that in 2024 of all years, in the year of our Lord and Savior Andrew Gower, why I'm going to start playing RuneScape 3 right before Brighter Shores comes out, and honestly, I think a lot of it comes down to just the fact that I've never really played RuneScape 3 before. That sort of over the course of my time having all this experience in this game, from way back in RuneScape Classic when I was too young to barely even remember all the things that were going on back then, and definitely too young to understand how to play the game properly, through my elementary school years of playing RuneScape 2 and trying to get other friends into it who were probably also not ready for it and about to become lifelong addicts the same way that I was, all the way through high school or middle school, where I was probably at the peak of my RuneScape playing, where me and all of my friends were playing every single day, and we would be in school in the computer labs playing, and we were actually making some million plus cash stacks, and then into high school, where I finally took my first real break from RuneScape, and to the past few years where I've come back to RuneScape, hitting the ground running and really building accounts, and sort of enjoying the game a lot more. uh, I've never played RuneScape 3. I quit around the time that most people quit. I think it was right after free trade happened, and I was of the impression for a very long time that RuneScape 3 was a game that was not very good. I had always been told by people, and I thought the consensus in the community was that RuneScape 3 sucks. It's all pay to win. It doesn't feel good to play. It's not enjoyable. And RuneScape, old school RuneScape, is the only RuneScape worth playing. And since I've started making content about MMOs in general and RuneScape in specific, I have found out that I am pretty wrong about what the consensus of the community around the game actually is. That there are people who like RuneScape 3, there are tons of people who play both, and honestly, I feel kind of dumb that I've never played that game. I sort of feel now like I've missed out on an integral part of RuneScape's history, and what playing RuneScape is, and what Jagex has been up to over the past decade, and I just feel like there are things in this world that I haven't experienced yet. And so I'm really excited to start playing RuneScape 3. I've heard great things about the PVM. I've heard that the Iron Man experience is solid, which is something that I'm really interested in experiencing firsthand. I've heard that progression feels really, really good in it. I've heard that the quests have been largely overhauled and redone in ways that are really interesting. I love questing in these games a lot, and yeah, I think that at the end of the day, what it comes down to for me with that game is just what I said a few minutes ago, that I feel like I've never played it before. Or I feel like I've never played all of RuneScape. And I think there's a little bit of a misconception sometimes about what I do on this channel, I sort of come to these games that I haven't played before, or games that I have played before, and I sort of try to convey what the game is to people who don't play it. And for a lot of people, they think that a game is simply the screen that you're staring at and the interface that you are working with, the places that you click, the buttons that you press, the things that you do. But a video game is a lot more than that. A video game is the community of people that are around it, the content creators that are sort of being viewed by millions and millions of people, or hundreds of thousands of people, depending on the size of the community. The thoughts that people are coming up with about how that game is meant to be played, the metas that are going on around it, the feelings about what's happening inside of it, the development of new content, the experience of the content that is already there. I mean, there's a lot of facets that are going on around it, and trying to capture what that's like in a video game, for me personally, has so little to do with a guide video about the thing. There are so many people making guide videos about these things, and about you know, what you're supposed to do when you get to level X, and the most optimal way to do the quests and all of these things. But for me, I want to know what it's like to live in that world, and I want to know what I've missed out on. I missed out on plenty over the years in the worlds of MMOs. And I always have this sort of longing inside of myself to go and play through those games that I've missed. I had this same thing with World of Warcraft. It's why I came to retail eventually, because as a kid, I never got to play World of Warcraft, but I always wanted to. I looked back on those episodes of shows that were on G4 that covered World of Warcraft. I looked back at all of those news articles about things. That's how I came to find Asmon, is that I was just looking for people who were there through that time period that I had missed out on, because I was so interested in it. And I've sort of gotten a feel for what it was like to be there secondhand from not being there. And I like to make those kinds of discoveries. And I think that that's a really common thing across all of us. So going into RuneScape 3 and getting back to RuneScape and talking about why I'm going to it, that is part of Jagex's history that I'm interested in. And there are so many people, I think, out there who have never played RuneScape 3 that have totally written it off and decided that it was a bad game before they had ever really gotten to experience it. Because as things were coming out in RuneScape 2, they were unable to or unwilling to understand how they would fit into the overall game that was RuneScape, because of things that either happened with those skills or because of things that happened outside of those skills and that content, whether it be the free trade system, whether it be the removal the removal of player killing in the wilderness, all these kinds of things. And I think it's funny because genuinely old school RuneScape now is such a different game than it was back then. I think about this all the time. Every day when I play this game. I'm right now doing rooftop agility courses. This is a newer thing in RuneScape. You know, your items don't spawn on the ground for anyone to pick up after 60 seconds of being on the ground anymore. The game is much more friendly to people who are playing it, and I think a lot of those changes are really good things. It's odd, the fact that as these games stick around, they don't exist in the way they were before. They exist in the memories that we have of them, and I love being able to go back into my memories and experience these things again and again and again. And I want that experience with all of RuneScape. I want to see warts and all. I want to see what RuneScape 3 feels like. I want to be there and have this ability. And I, you know, this guy waves at you. Look at that. How cool is that? I want to see it all. One big thing that I think of in my life a lot of times that I'm confused about by other people when it comes to MMORPGs is this concept of you have to only play one. You know, you're out here playing this game, now you've committed to this, and this can be the only thing that you play, and you have to, in order to show your love for old school RuneScape, you have to vehemently stand against RuneScape 3, because to say that old school RuneScape is good in a lot of people's minds means that you have to say that RuneScape 3 was bad, because it's what in a lot of people's heads, I think they think, what is the purpose? What is the existence? What is the point of old school RuneScape if RuneScape 3 is good? What have I been doing with this last decade of my life playing this game again if RuneScape 3 was actually good the whole time? But I think they're probably going to be different games. I'm really excited to find that out for myself, but I think that RuneScape 3 will probably play a good amount differently than RuneScape or old school RuneScape will. There's lots of content that sort of crosses over between the two of them, but there's different mechanics for different fights. Skilling is a whole different thing. I think that there's probably going to be a little bit less grind involved in it, but yeah, I'm really excited to get out there and experience it. And I mean, the same way that I want to go back and play somehow, I want to play Classic. You know, even even if I can, even if I have, I have feelings about private servers and playing games on private servers. I don't trust them a lot of times. But even if I could get my hands on some kind of server myself and host it myself locally and just play it offline and just poke around inside of that game, I would love to do that. And there's tons of games that I'm excited about playing. That all being said, I haven't found a whole lot of content creators in RuneScape 3, and I don't really even know where to begin looking. I don't know if there's a large pool of content creators for that game. So if you guys know any content creators that you would like for me to do videos reacting to their content or seeing things before I start playing, which I'll start playing RuneScape 3 I believe next week, and checking out some of that content. I'll probably do a couple streams on it and just have some experiences and put together a first thoughts kind of video on it. So send me those. Let me know what you guys think about RuneScape 3. Like I said, I know that the thoughts on it are varied from person to person. I can see why people have their thoughts about it. If you have actual experience with both games and you feel certain kinds of ways, I totally understand that. But the last thing that I would say about the RuneScape 3 old school RuneScape debate that everyone always talks about is that some of the best players in old school RuneScape also play RuneScape 3 and are also some of the best players in RuneScape 3. And to me, if people who play this game at an extremely high level see value in that game, I think that it's worth doing. So I'm going to play it next week, and we're going to see for ourselves what RuneScape 3 is like. And in the meantime, guys, I hope everyone's safe out there. I hope you guys had a great holiday, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.